I'm a deep-sea diver working for a criminal ring. Something has gone very wrong on our last mission. If you're confused, you should start at the beginning." My heart skipped a beat as I read the words Thomas had written. I looked up at him. His eyes were pleading. Okay, man, I'm going up. I'll see what I can do about that phone call," I said, hoping he'd get my message. Thomas nodded in understanding. "All right, I'll stay right here." I sprinted out of the room, heart hammering, and ran to the control room. Lai and Haley were already there. I started, not even knowing how to explain what had happened. Haley cut me off. Thomas was passing us a message while we were winching him up. I stopped in my tracks, head spinning. Everything was coming apart faster than I could comprehend. What? How? What message? The clicking. It seemed strange to me. Thomas is usually so calm and collected. It seemed so unlike him. She gestured at the computer screen. I listened through it again. It was Morse code. John. He was clicking in Morse, spelling out a sentence. What was he saying? Lai answered me instead of Haley. "Don't bring me up. Don't bring me up." It just repeats the whole damn journey, all the way up. He was telling us to leave him at the bottom of the sea. "We were hoping you got some sense out of him," Haley continued, looking at me. "Something must have scared him down there. He's not thinking straight." I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "I think something bad happened down there," I said finally. "Thomas says he's all right, but he wrote this." I handed them the piece of paper. Haley went pale. Lai frowned, but I saw a flash of fear in his eyes. "What the hell does this mean?" "There's something in his suit." "How would?" "So he said nothing's wrong, but passed you this?" said Haley. "Why would he do that?" "I don't know," I admitted. "None of this makes sense, but I think that whatever it is, he can't tell us anything out loud. He wrote this message down. He sent us a message in Morse on the way up. Maybe something really got into his suit. And if he tries to warn us, it'll hurt him." Lai snorted derisively. "Can you hear yourself, John? Something got in his suit. What the hell does that mean? How would it even get through the seals?" "I don't know, Lai," I repeated. "Maybe he's just, I don't know, gone a bit crazy. Nitrogen narcosis. Perhaps." Haley shook her head. "Nitrogen narcosis doesn't do anything like this." "What are you suggesting we do, then?" Lai asked. He was still skeptical, and I couldn't blame him. This was insane. Still, I couldn't forget the way Thomas had sounded afraid of something before his radio cut out, like he had seen something horrifying. "What's the plan?" Lai asked, breaking me out of my thought. "We only have about 2 more hours before the Chinese arrive. Get us out of here," Haley decided. "We've got enough problems already without having to deal with the government. Me and John will figure out what to do about Thomas." Lai glanced at me, then headed out of the control room into the ship's bridge. I looked over at Haley. "So, what's the plan?" She shrugged. "I don't know, John. Could something have gotten inside his suit? And what could make him behave like this? Anyway, no idea." The way he sounded before his radio went dead, though, like he'd seen something terrible. "I heard it too," Haley said. "He sounded scared, horrified. I've never heard Thomas like that." "Me neither." "We'll make way for the mainland," Haley decided finally. "The higher-ups will know what to do. In the meantime, we'll try to find out more from Thomas." "So are we really entertaining the possibility that there's something inside his suit?" Haley looked me in the eye. "He's having an episode. Until we can get him professional help, we'll play into the delusion." She sounded resolute, but I caught a spark of something in her eye. Fear, doubt. She wasn't quite convinced by her own words. We made our way down to the cargo hold. Thomas was still sitting on his container. As we entered, his eyes darted up, full of desperate hope. I held up a piece of paper we had prepared with Haley before entering. Written on it in large letters was the message on way to land. "Help there. What is it?" Thomas' eyes flicked across the page, almost imperceptibly. He shook his head. I laid the paper and pencil down in front of him. "We've been recalled to the mainland," I said, trying to sound calm. Thomas nodded at me. He was writing something, but I couldn't make out what. "Have you told them there was nothing to recover?" he said absently, trying to keep the conversation going. "No," Haley answered. "We haven't called yet." Thomas' gaze flicked up from the paper, then back down. He slid it across towards us. "I can't wait to be back on land," he said, on the paper. Thomas had scribbled a single sentence, underlined and traced several times. "Don't take me ashore." I glanced sideways at Haley. "Thomas, maybe we should," I started. Thomas spasmed suddenly, bending forward as if punched in the stomach. I started forward, grabbing his shoulder to steady him, and something moved beneath my hand. With horrible strength, Thomas' arm bent backwards, away from me, as if pulled by an unseen force. There was a wet crack, and the whole limb bent into an unnatural angle. I gasped and took a step back. Thomas' eyes snapped to me, a silent command to stay still. I froze. Haley quietly pointed at Thomas' shoulder with a shaking finger, where I had touched it. The diving suit had bulged outwards, a full 2 inches of the suit blossoming into a swaying, undulating mass. I recoiled in disgust. The lump pulsed organically before retracting as quickly as it had appeared. Thomas had gone a sickly white. He tapped his one functional hand on the message, then took the pencil and wrote out another phrase. "Help me, we'll let you know when we're getting close," Haley stammered. Backing away from him, I followed her, never taking my eyes off Thomas. He was grimacing. Whether in pain or fear, I didn't know. We stumbled into the corridor and slammed the heavy door shut behind us. "What the fuck was that?" Haley whispered to me. "What the fuck was that?" "I don't know," I mumbled, my heart hammering. There's really something in that suit with him. I could feel it when I touched him." "What could possibly do that?" Haley asked incredulously. "I have no clue." "What do we do now?" "We go tell Lai. Then, we'll figure something out." We headed up to the deck and onto the bridge. Night had fallen. Lai had gotten the ship underway in the meantime, heading toward the closest port. He looked up at us when we entered. "So, what's the situation?" Stumbling over our words, we explained what had happened. Lai's face remained blank as we described the strange, organic protrusion on Thomas' suit and showed him the message he had written for us. "So, you think there's really something in the suit?" he asked at last. "Yes," I answered. "We saw it. It was moving. It was fucking moving, Lai. It broke his arm when I touched it." Our friend sat down on his heels and rubbed his eyes. Shit. What are we thinking, Lai? What do we do?" "Well, we can't take him to land. For whatever reason, he seems to think that's a bad idea. So, we have to deal with this here. We need to find out what's in there with him." Haley said. "We can't do anything if we don't know that." "How do we go about that, though?" I asked. "We can't talk about it, and he can't just keep writing stuff down. We can barely get short sentences out of him as it is." We were silent for a while, weighing our options. Finally, Lai spoke up. "There's nothing for it. Someone will have to just ask him." "Do you really think that's a good idea?" Haley said. "He hasn't said anything out loud. There must be a reason." "I can't think of anything better to do," Lai admitted. "We need to find out more. And pen and paper aren't going to cut it. What if it isn't safe? Whatever it is. It hasn't gotten out of the suit yet. Maybe it can't. It might be perfectly safe, and besides, it's not like Thomas can be in more danger. We'll have to risk it. What if it escapes?" I said. "Once I'm inside, you seal the door behind me. When the room is secure, I'll ask him. If I need to get out, I'll beat on the door. That way you'll know it's safe to open up." "And what if it isn't safe?" I asked. "Then, I'll just have to deal with it," Lai answered. His hand strayed to his belt, where he had a small pistol holstered. Haley put a hand on his shoulder. "Are you sure about this?" "Absolutely. We have to help Thomas. But we can't do that if we don't know what's in there with him." We headed down to the cargo hold. My heart was hammering and my mouth was dry. Haley was pale. Lai appeared calm, but I could tell he was barely keeping it together. We stopped in front of the door to Thomas' room. "Good luck," I whispered. "Don't worry," he said, flashing me a hollow smile. "I'll be right back." He opened the heavy steel door and stepped inside. I caught a glimpse of Thomas, still sitting on the container. His head was bent low. Lai looked back at us and nodded. I swung the door shut and sealed it, then turned to Haley. "What now?" "Now we wait." We could hear Lai speaking on the other side, but the thick walls reduced his speech to an unintelligible murmur. I cleared my throat. "How will we?" A scream from the cargo hold cut me off. I recognized the voice. It was Lai, his voice twisted with unimaginable terror, shouting wordlessly. An impact, then another. Then another made the door to the cargo hold shake. I realized what it was. Lai was desperately beating on the door. "Let me out! Let me out!" The shout carried even through the metal walls. With shaking fingers, I unsealed the door. It swung open and Lai tumbled through, falling to the ground and crawling away. In the hold, I caught a glimpse of Thomas. He was no longer sitting on the container. He had fallen onto the ground, and I yelled in horror at the sight of what was happening to him. His whole body was moving, writhing, and stretching in ways no body should ever move. His outline was barely human, contorted with tumorous growths under the diving suit. His arms and legs were twisting in unnatural angles. The crack of bones sent bile to my throat. "Close the door. Close it." Haley's command woke me from my terrified reverie. I pushed on the heavy metal door and it slammed shut, sealing Thomas away. I stumbled back. Lai jumped to his feet, eyes darting and wild. He pushed past me and Haley and leapt up the staircase. "Oh God. Oh my God," I whispered to myself, too shocked to think. John, keep it together," Haley said, shaking me by the shoulders. I didn't care. "Oh God, oh God, oh God." Haley slapped me, and the pain achieved what words couldn't. "Did you see that?" I asked, voice quaking. "I don't know what I saw," Haley answered. "What the fuck were the Chinese transporting?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "Don't you understand? A government ship sinks. They don't bother to send a rescue party, but they get a salvage operation going in record time. The AI was carrying something secret, something dangerous. It got free, or escaped, or whatever. When the ship sank, and then Thomas went down, a loud bang interrupted her. My heart fell as I realized what it was. A gunshot. I rushed upward, Haley right behind me. We stopped in our tracks as we reached the deck and saw what lay there. Lai was sprawled on the ground, blood pouring from his temple and steaming in the cold night air. Brain matter had sprayed onto the wall beside him. The gun had fallen from his fingers and lay on the ground next to the corpse. I fell to my knees in disbelief. Haley rushed to the side of the ship and vomited into the water. Hey, what? I mumbled, not quite comprehending. Haley dropped to the ground next to me. Lai, no. Oh my God, Lai. A sound interrupted my grief, sending my heart plummeting. From the stairs behind us came the thump of heavy, metal-shod footsteps, pulling themselves up to the deck. A shape dragged itself into view. It stumbled on ruined legs. It dragged itself by shattered arms. It crawled on all four like a demented insect, its whole mass pulsing and twisting and writhing underneath the heavy diving suit. A single word, guttural and twisted, escaped its lips. Joe ... then ... Thomas had escaped.